Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're live.
Nina, would you please do the roll call?
Councilperson Alvarez,
Here.
Councilperson Pigorski,
Here.
Councilperson Geishurst,
Here.
Councilperson Clem, Councilperson Williams,
Here.
Councilperson Gully,
Here.
Councilperson Zilli.
Here.
We have the approval of the minutes.
I make a motion to approve our November 2nd minutes. And I think I can do this Dan, you correct me, got also that memoranda of record that was sent?
You can. You can, if you want to couple it all into one motion, you certainly can.
I'd like to do that.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of November 2nd and the memorandum of minutes. Is there any discussion?
Yes, can we just have a brief explanation of what the memoranda of minutes entails, please?
So this is, if I could jump in, let me just give this a whirl. So the statute allows for a meeting to have minutes or in the alternative, a memorandum, which basically says who was there, when it occurred, and where it was at, and generally what was discussed. So I'm a little bit conservative and somewhat overkill, but what I did is, now that the budget session for 2020, our 2021 budgets for 2022 were done, I thought it appropriate for the council, for purposes of transparency, to at least approve a memorandum for each budget committee meeting, so that the public knows that there was a committee meeting and when it occurred. I mean, you guys put in a lot of time on those, and I felt it was appropriate to create a record that shows, all of the committee meetings that you guys had. So that's all they are. Each one of them is just time and place and who was there, and that you reviewed and discussed budget numbers.
And if I may ask, what will the policy be going forward at future budget? Will there be minutes taken, or will it be memoranda, or what's that going to look like, if I may ask?
Certainly. So candidly, that's really up to the committee, frankly. I mean, let's be clear. I mean, the purpose of minutes are to obviously keep a good, accurate record of the meeting. It's real handy when you have a motion and a second, the votes, how people voted, all of that stuff, I think would never work for a memorandum. But, with respect to these budget committee meetings, there are no motions, there are no votes. It's really just you guys reviewing budget numbers. It's really up to you. Frankly, your minutes would be exactly the same as these memorandum. We could just call these minutes because there were no votes taken. Your minutes would really just say, we were here, we talked about the budget, we left. So it'd be the same, Ferdinand. Really, however you want to call them is fine. Either one would work.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? If not, Nina, call the roll, please.
Councilperson Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilperson Podgorski,
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst,
Yes.
Councilperson Williams,
Yes.
Councilperson Gully,
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli.
Yes.
We have communications, correspondence, and announcements from the mayor. We do have some announcements. I would like to take this time to acknowledge 3 of our city employees who will be retiring this month. And that is our sanitary plant superintendent, Don Slonikowski, who has been with us for 36 years. Our building commissioner, Doug Sweeney, who has been with us for 13 years. And our clerk treasurer, chief deputy, Lynn Reed, who has been with us for 35 years. So I think all of us would like to thank them for their service to the city, and we want to wish them well on their retirement. Hope they can relax and enjoy their lives. There will be a small employee luncheon gathering tomorrow to wish them well. I believe it's from 11 to 2. We are going to be spacing out. It will be a box lunch. There will not be anybody getting close to each other. There will be hand sanitizer, and when you're not actually eating your lunch, you're to remain masked. I would also like to announce that we have 2 new department heads. Our new sanitary plant superintendent, Mrs. Tracy Marshall. Tracy's been with us for a couple of years now. She's an amazing person. She comes from the industry, has worked a long time in wastewater treatment. She's actually a registered nurse on top of everything else, which was surprising for me, but she's one, I think, of 2 female sanitary superintendents in the entire state. So I'm very proud of her, and I know that she's going to do a great job. She's got a great team around her. Our new building commissioner is Mr. Richard Jones, and he just hit the ground running. The last week of the month, So he's still pretty new at it, still figuring his way through those code books. And we want to wish him well. He's a great asset to the department. He was he was a sheet metal worker for over 30 years. So he has been in the business, and we're all there to see him succeed. We want to welcome them to our city, and they will be sworn in officially at our February City Council meeting, hoping that we will be going live. I also want to remind everybody that City Hall is now closed to employees and the public for the month of January due to our asbestos abatement taking place in the building. All employees have been relocated to Woodland Park. We're sprinkled out everywhere, but it's working well so far. The clerk treasurer's office, community development, and the mayor's office are in the small building just to the south of the Woodland Park building. It does say maintenance on it, but there is a sign there that says City Hall. People wishing to pay their bill or come in and see the clerk treasurer's staff or anything can just walk right in there. We also have the building department employees, and they are located in the main hall of Woodland Park. And so if you're seeking a permit and you're building anything, you will need to go in there, and you can just walk in the back door and they can help you out. So if you need to contact any of these people by phone or email, it's the same phone and email that you've always used. So everything's been transferred over there. I think, Nina, you've made sure that Proven's got everything online there. So that looks like we're doing good there. So, I'd just like to thank our employees and the public for their patience during this remodeling of City Hall. I know it's going to be a great asset because finally our building will be 100% ADA compliant, which is something that we have strived to attain. And that will happen hopefully around March. So thank you again for your patience. That's all I've got. We have appointments. We have the election of council president and vice president.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Colin Zilli to serve as our council president for the year 2022. I think he's done an excellent job, and I'd like to see him continue in that role.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Deb, to appoint Colin as the council president. Dan, just correct me, do we take a vote or do we wait and see if there are other nominations?
I would call to see if there's other nominations first.
Okay,
Mayor.
that's what I thought. So are there any other nominations for city council president? Hearing none, please call the roll, Nina.
Councilperson Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilperson Podgorski,
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst,
Yes.
Councilperson Williams,
Yes.
Councilperson Gully,
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli.
Yes.
Uh,
Motion to nominate Scott Williams for vice president.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Colin, seconded by Gina, to nominate Scott Williams as vice president. Are there any other nominations for vice president? Are there any other nominations for vice president? If not, Nina, please call the roll.
Councilperson Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilperson Podgorski,
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst,
Yes.
Councilperson Williams,
Yes.
Councilperson Gully,
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli.
Yes.
We have the May oral appointments. I will read my May oral appointments for 2022 boards and commission to the Advisory Claims Committee. This is a one-year term. Brian Gully, Dan Commenda, and Lori Wilkie. To the Alcohol Beverage Commission, which is a one-year term, James Thompson. To the Americans with Disability Act Building and Grounds Coordinator, one-year term, Sandy Kolb. To the Board of Licensing and Registration, one-year term, Robert Makoviak, Joe Casper, and Ramon Mendoza. Board of Public Works and Safety, 1 year, Joetta Collins, Jamie Lewis, Stephanie Young Johnson, and Scott Williams. To the Education Foundation, a one-year term to Amy Armstrong. Ethics Commission, which is a two-year term, Relisa Parker, Dave Liseco. Fire Merit Board, four-year term, Mike McIntyre. Hearing Authority for Enforcement of Building Standards, Attorney Alan Mendo. Park Board, four-year term, Hortensia Moreno. Plan Commission, four-year term, Austin Banta, Sam Lavoy. Port Authority, four-year term, Jeff Fleming. Porter County Solid Waste Advisory Committee, one-year term, Dr. Julie Peller. Redevelopment Commission, one-year term, Ralph Munt and Greg Locke. Stormwater Board, Dominic Banta and Mel Gore. Those are my appointments for 2022.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
can you get a typed copy sent to us just so we have the list?
I will have that sent to you right after the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am.
We have the Common Council appointments.
Yes, Mayor. So for the Advisory Claims Committee, we'll have a one-year term. This is a council member, will be Pat Clem. For the Board of Licensing and Registration, this will be a one-year term. From the council, it will be Ferdinand Alvarez, and then the citizen appointment will be Jeremy Rivas. For the Board of Zoning Appeals, oh, nope, sorry, that appointment's not up. For the Economic Development Commission, will be John Harrison for a one-year term. For the Ethics Commission, it will be Cindy Lopez, Olga Velasquez, and Danielle Balek for a two-year term each. For the Plan Commission, our council appointment will be Gina Geishurst. And for the Porter County Solid Waste Advisory Committee, our council appointment will be Ferdinand Alvarez. For the Redevelopment Commission, our two appointments will be myself as a council member and Alan Ekdahl. And for Traffic Commission, our council representative will be Debbie Podgorski. For committees, the Budget Committee will be chaired by Deb Podgorski, and members will be Scott Williams and myself. The Ordinance Committee will be chaired by Scott Williams, and members will be Brian Gully and Deb Podgorski. The Strategic Planning Committee will be chaired by Gina Geishurst, with members Pat Clem and Ferdinand Alvarez. The Ways and Means Committee will be chaired by Brian Gully, with Pat Clem and Gina Geishurst as members. The Redistricting Committee will stay the same. Brian Gully will chair that, with Scott Williams and Ferdinand Alvarez as members. And our liaison members will remain the same. Fire Department and Fire Merit Board will be Scott Williams. Park Board, Gina Geishurst. Police Department and Police Merit Board, Deb Podgorski. Port Authority, Ferdinand Alvarez. Streets and Sanitation Department, Pat Clem. And Utilities, Brian Gully.
And same thing, Colin, would you get a type set to us?
Yep, they're actually on the same list that Sue's going to send over.
Okay,
Thank
Sweet.
you.
And
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve these council appointments.
Well,
second.
we didn't make a motion to
Oh.
do the mayor's appointments. So do we want to do them
Yeah.
all?
Those are yours.
They don't vote on your appointments, Mayor.
Okay.
They vote on their own.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So
I'll
we
make-
have a motion to
Yeah.
approve the council appointments. Did we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. I didn't get that. Nina, did you get who the second was?
It was Gina.
Okay.
Gina won.
Oh, Nina, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilperson Alvarez,
Whoop.
can you hear me?
I
me?
can hear you now. I lost you quick for a bit
Yeah.
there.
I think it's the wind.
Okay.
Councilperson Podgorski,
Yes,
Councilperson Geishurst,
Yes,
Councilperson Williams,
Yes,
Councilperson Gully,
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli.
Yes.
We have reports of city officials. I'm not sure any are on here. They were invited to submit their report to the council, but if they wish to speak at this time, clear your mic and you can give your report. If not, the council did receive some reports. I see Chief Wilkening. Would you like to give a report?
Yeah, Mayor, I could just give a real quick one. Just to let you know for our year-end stats, December was quite busy. We had 581 total calls. 424 of those were EMS. So it's the COVID is really starting to put a taxing on us. We are running a lot of calls. 10 of those were fires. So the same time last year, we only had 490 calls. So we were up almost 100 calls this month. Our grand total for the end of the year was 6,115 calls. 4,400 of them were EMS and 150 were fires. Last year, we finished at 5,199 for total calls with 3,800 EMS calls. So we were up 916 calls from last year. We also had mutual aid come in 33 times, and only 3 of those were for fire responses. So we also pulled up stats for 2019, and we had a total of 4,601 calls, which 3,387 were EMS. So in just 2 years, we have increased over 1,500 total calls and over 1,000 ambulance calls, again, with the same staffing, the same amount of vehicles. So we are getting at critical levels as far as our call load and our call volume. And also just a reminder that our vehicles are also showing the wear and tear of all those increased calls too. So we are starting to get at critical levels that we really need to look at. As far as we're still processing 2 new hires. We have 3 more openings to fill. So our merit board met last night and approved us to start advertising and getting applications. We're going to do another hire list. This will be an accelerated one. So we are now taking applications until January 21st. So they can contact the fire department for more info or get a application from us. Like I said, the COVID is really starting to get to us. To start the year, the first 2 days, we had over 60 calls. So that was a ton of calls. Our staff and crews, everybody did a fantastic job running all those calls. They really worked. Plus with the weather, did not help at all either. We do have 2 firefighters off now with COVID. So we are doing what we can to try to keep our people safe as far as mass decontamination and everything. We are having some also delays that it's not something new, but it's happening more and more. Is the ambulances are taking patients to the hospital, and the hospital really doesn't have anywhere to put them, so they're kind of delayed until they can find somewhere to put the patients. So that plus the decontamination and everything is making our turnaround even slower. So that is causing a little bit of a problem. Like I said last month, Chief DeYoung is still doing the aid to assistance to firefighters federal grant. He's finishing it up now, and we'll be turning that in. I know I've been asking about the ambulance billing. Chief Kodachek has done a great job working at the new billing company and talking with Clerk Treasurer Rivas. I think we have most everything in place. I think they need a couple of certifications, then a couple of numbers were wrong, but I believe we're very close to now getting everything underway. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Chief Kodachek had sent those certifications a while back, and they ended up realizing that today. And at one point, it appears that the city had a new separate number that they were using for Medicaid. Nobody can make sense of it. So the ball's rolling now.
Yeah. So hopefully everything will be rolling out and smooth in the next few days. With the holidays, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I just going to say for residents, we had some questions because the bill looks like it comes from from Michigan. So we added the city's logo onto it so residents know it's legit.
Right. Yeah, and then with Christmas and New Year's and all that, and all the calls that we had, it was fairly slow month for us. So as far as that stuff goes, but again, I just want to give kudos to all the firefighters for everything they did the past year. This year has been just total craziness for us, but they handled it in a very professional manner, and they did an excellent job, and they need to be congratulated for all the work that they do. And that's my report. If there's not any questions.
So Randy, I do have one question for you. I noticed that there's a lot of COVID testing sites popping up. Are those all approved by the Board of Health, or did they just pop up, or do you have any idea about those?
Not all of them. I know the testing site is approved through the Board of Health at the old Portage Township Trustees building. I know that one is approved. I know each one that in all the drugstores, those are all approved, but the other ones I can't speak 100% on.
Okay, I am checking into that just to let you know.
Thank you.
Because they're popping up kind of. So we want to make sure that our residents are getting accurate testing.
Right. Most of the tests that are out are the Abbott Binex ones, and it's pretty much what everybody's using. Unfortunately, all of the drugstores have been sold out of them, so it's really hard to try to even get a home test.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been having a lot of problems with the other tests as far as turnaround time. Some of them are a week to 10 days out, and that's causing a little bit of a problem for results.
Yeah, I know some people have had to wait quite a while. So just checking to make sure that we were having our residents go to legitimate sites.
Right. Yeah, like I said, as far as I know that, and I know the YMCA, the YMCA's testing, and I think the Salvation Army, those are all through the Board of Health also. So
I was going to say, I think the best place to go on the county's website, they provide a list of testing sites. Right. Those would be the ones that are approved by the Board of Health.
Okay. Thanks, Randy.
Actually, yep. I don't have a question for Chief Wilkening, more of a statement echoing what you said as far as thanking our firefighters for the sacrifices they make, the jobs they do. Just a brief story on Thanksgiving evening, as I'm returning from the store doing my last minute Thanksgiving shopping, I observed a fire truck re-entering the fire station right there on Central Avenue. Just when people are starting to sit down with their families, our firefighters are sitting at the station serving the city. And so I was not able to attend the first December meeting. So this being my first meeting back from Thanksgiving, I just want to thank our firefighters for the job they do. That's all.
Thank you for the comments. I'm sure they appreciate it.
I'm sure we all appreciate them, Randy. They're always there for us.
We try.
Is there any other department head that would like to speak at this time?
Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, Chief, we hear you.
All right. I've got a little something if you guys got a minute or two.
Yep.
Sure.
All right. Well, first of all, Happy New Year to everybody. Same with, as Chief Wilkening mentioned with the total incidents, I sent you all our numbers. An increase again this year, kind of in line with what the fire department's seeing. December, our total incidents were 2,785. That's about 90 a day. Total incidents for 2021 were 35,909. So we were up about 3,699 incidents from last year. So essentially that's about 10 a day. So again, to echo what the chief said, we're just, getting busier. I think we have a lot more traffic, a lot more activity in town, maybe not necessarily all based on increased residents, but just the businesses and the more people that are coming into the town to do their shopping and do their things. So as for our hiring and staffing, we have a new officer that started yesterday, Officer York. He is Unit 199. So
Wow.
for those of you who've been around for a while, you
Wow.
understand the significance of the numbers. So he's set to begin the academy. I believe it's next week. We still have one position open. We're currently going through a hiring process, and I think our testing is on January 15th. I sent you some numbers on the apps and kind of, the returns and kind of where we've been sitting. So that's probably a, discussion for the future, but I sent you some information there. On another good note, Officers Gardenhire and Olson were recently released to solo patrol just in time for them to be available to us over these holidays. So I had previously mentioned that they had graduated and done very well at the academy. So they got themselves released within the last month or so after getting back from the academy. So congrats to them. Very excited to have them out there. We have 3 officers that are going to be leaving for the academy in the next week. And we also have been dealing with some COVID issues. We currently have 1 officer on workman's comp. My paperwork I sent you said we had 9 out for COVID. We've actually got 10 now. And we have 1 serving a military commitment. So it's been hitting us hard, but luckily it's the beginning of the year and most of the vacations and things, will be used later in the year. So we're still hanging in there. Let's see here. Another good note. Another good note. We also increased our partnership with Porter Township Schools. We're adding an additional school resource officer to the program. That officer that's been selected is Officer Jake Wyrick, and he's beginning this week. So this will put us with 2 full-time Portage officers along with the 2 full-time county officers. And then there's a additional rotational position that's filled with kind of a hodgepodge of officers from the area. So getting a couple more officers, more officers in the school and just renewing that commitment that we have to them. So very excited about that. Community engagement stuff, not a whole lot going on with the winter weather. We did participate, our FOP participated in the Cops for Kids, partnered with Meyer. And I believe we purchased gifts for approximately 40 kids. So that was another great thing that we did that we're very excited to be a part of. And then very lastly, as with Chief Wilkening, I just want to thank our people. As with the fire department, our officers worked the holidays, worked, Thanksgiving, worked Christmas, home away from their families. And then as I put on the notes to you, we've ended up having, if I add the one today, we're at 14 officers that have been out with COVID within this latest surge. End of the year is usually a little tough for us. Everybody's using up their vacation. Everybody wants their holidays off. So you can imagine the amount of short shifts that we had with having 14 people out. Everybody stepped up, worked a lot of overtime. There were shifts that were open on Christmas Day that we had to force people into. So I just want to thank them for being out there. It's a 24-hour day, 365 days a year job, and people got to fill the shifts. So I appreciate them for stepping up. And then just a little kudos to my admin team. Generally, they don't get them. So I want to give a shout out to Captain Mark Monks, who was in charge of dealing with all of the scheduling chaos. I know he was supposed to be on vacation recently, the last week or so, and he spent most of his time trying to sort out all the schedule holes. Captain Keith Hughes, who put a lot of hours into working on the
Ours.
Lost him.
Uh-oh.
trying to find us some new vehicle. And then lastly, I got to thank the Assistant Chief, Ted Uzelak. He has taken on the project manager role for this Lexipol endeavor. Did you lose me?
For a second.
Okay. Lastly, just want to thank Chief or AC Ted Uzelak. He's taken on the Lexipol project manager role, and we're realizing that it is quite the endeavor. It's going to be an awesome thing, but he's got his hands full. So I want to give him some appreciation for working on that. So that is all I got.
Thank you, Chief. I know that Councilperson Pogorski is working on that Lexapol employee manual as well, and she has said that it's quite the challenge right now. There's a lot to do, but I think it's going to clean up a lot of issues in our employee manual.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome when it's all done. There's a lot of things you can do with it, I'm sure. Chief Candiano would agree. I mean, it's gonna be, but it's a lot of work.
Well, thanks for stepping up. Thanks to Assistant Chief Uzelak and you, Deb, for stepping up. I know that you spend a lot of hours doing that. It's not a 5-minute commitment. It's hours and hours. So thank you so much.
I'd like to just add my thanks and appreciation to the police department by giving an example that I observed driving through the city a few weeks ago. There was a Friday morning, and in the morning on the intersection of 6th and Willow Creek, it seemed to be a traffic accident involving a pedestrian and a vehicle, okay? And who was out there on a frosty, cold morning? Portage PD, directing traffic, making sure everyone's safe. That evening, rainstorm, traffic accidents, 6th and Willow Creek. Who's out there directing traffic, making sure everyone's safe? Portage PD. So like Chief Candiano said, 365, 24/7. We do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. And I just wanted to make that known. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, just like our police and our fire, they're better than the mailman. Rain, sleet, snow, ice, they're always there. We appreciate that for them.
And I appreciate all of our departments because we're one big city with a lot of departments, and every department plays a vital role in this city. Our streets are included in that, as well as our storm and sanitary guys. So yeah, thanks to everyone in our city who pulls together when we need you. So we have any other department heads that would like to say anything?
Madam Mayor, I'd just like to real quick tell the council that I'll update them on collective bargaining. So I had an opportunity to meet with the union and their bargaining representative just toward the end of December. We're going to start bargaining the police, of course, the streets and utilities. We're coming into a multi-year bargaining period. So the thought is it'll be 3-year contracts we're negotiating for. They're going to get back to me with some dates in January, where we're going to have sort of initial sit down with the two bargaining sides, maybe exchange some wish lists. And I suspect that the hard bargaining will begin in February. So I will update you as things move. My plan is, as we get closer to having a negotiated, sort of generally agreed to terms contract, I'm going to ask for an executive session of the council. I'm going to review the terms of the proposed contracts and things that we may or may not be able to tentatively agree on, get your thoughts on the matter, and then we'll move into final settlement of the contract. So I'll keep you posted as we go, but I know a lot of you have asked me about this and I wanted to kind of bring you to speed.
Thank you, Dan. I know that's going to be a challenge, so.
Certainly is. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other department heads who have anything that they would like to bring to the council? If not, we'll move on to reports from standing committees.
Madam Mayor, the ordinance committee did not meet this month as planned due to the virtual meeting of the council. We felt it wasn't appropriate to meet in person. So our hopes are that we will continue our meetings in February. Again, our meeting is always the first Tuesday of the month prior to the council meeting. It starts at 5 p.m.
Budget, do you have anything to bring up?
I just have a quick question. I guess this really is for Nina. Have we gotten anything back from the state yet? From our budget?
I emailed that out.
Okay.
And then Dan, just wanted to quickly confirm. for the ordinance committee, that they're going to meet monthly. We're noticing this now, correct? That serves as the notice.
So I assume that question was for me, Colin. I'm sorry, you cut out for a
Yes.
second.
Yes. Yep.
So if we're having, yeah, that will be fine. We need to include that in the minutes of this meeting, by the way, so the public can see that you've set this ordinance committee meeting and when it will occur.
Perfect.
Are there any other committee reports? If not, there is no unfinished business. We'll move on to new business, the COVID-19 policy update.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Dan, I know you worked on a piece of this. I worked on a piece of this. I'm happy to explain the two pieces at the beginning, and then if you want to talk through the eligibility or the isolation and quarantine update, does that work for you?
Sure, however you want to do it, Colin.
Okay. So, Council, as you know, back in 2021, we brought this to the Council for review. There have been some updates from the CDC and NIH about isolation and quarantine times. So we wanted to update the policy to match what the County Health Department and the CDC has put out. In addition, we've added 2 items to the leave policy. The first is a vaccine symptom leave. So the new portion is that an employee who's experiencing COVID symptoms after receiving a vaccine or booster shot shall be eligible for up to 1 COVID leave shift the day of or the workday after receiving a vaccine or booster shot. This also applies to Pfizer and Moderna's first shot. So it's each individual shot of the vaccine and booster. It also requires that if you're using it after your first Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, you have to become fully vaccinated when eligible. Otherwise, you'll have to retroactively use PTO in place of COVID leave. The second change to the actual leave policy is defining fully vaccinated. So fully vaccinated will be defined as completing the 2-shot Pfizer Moderna regimen or the 1-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine and receiving a booster shot when recommended and eligible according to the CDC and NIH at the time of the COVID leave request. So if you're requesting COVID leave, you have to have had your booster if you're eligible for your booster. And then Dan, did you want to go ahead and talk about the exposure, isolation, and quarantine policy?
I can, although I'm cutting in and out here a little bit, so I'm sorry. Yeah, what we did here was, just as you all were aware, as were many employees, because I got emails and calls, when the CDC sort of updated their isolation recommendations. So what we've done is we've just pretty much taken the CDC's recommended isolation periods and supplanted that over the previous isolation recommendations that we had passed in the original version of this policy. And you'll see it's just sort of short and sweet, and it not as many categories, but you can read through it. It talks about if you've had the vaccine, what happens if you test positive, what happens if you are exposed but don't have no symptoms. So it just sort of breaks out in pretty clear form what the employee, the supervisor should have the employee do. I can read it if you'd like, but it's pretty self-explanatory.
Unless anyone on the council wants Dan to read through it, I don't think it's necessary. It matches what the CDC and the health department put out, I think last week. And then it just matches that identically to the health department. So.
And you'll see other communities have adopted pretty much the same thing. Even the county, I looked at the county's policy that when the CDC came out, the county did the same thing that we're proposing to do today. It puts everybody sort of on a uniform basis as to what to expect when these things occur.
All right, good job, President Zilli and Attorney Whitten on getting this policy in line with other entities.
So with that, I'll make a motion to accept the updated COVID leave policy.
Second.
Go ahead.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Will this be put into the employee plan, Deb?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, if there's no further discussion, Nina, please call the roll.
Councilperson Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilperson Podgorski,
yes,
Councilperson Geishurst,
Yes.
Councilperson Williams,
Yes.
Councilperson Goli,
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli.
Yes. Mayor, is it possible to send this out to employees as an update now that it's been approved?
I think Norma could send that out to everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I told the department heads I would send them a copy once approved as well. And I will send one to the union so they can disseminate to their membership as well if they have questions.
I
That
think
needs to
another
be-
thing too, Attorney Whitten, is that we maybe should post that. You know, post it in the lunch areas or wherever employees gather in all departments so that it's there.
I agree. That's a great idea, Mayor.
Okay, we'll get that out. We have the 2021 encumbrances. I believe that's you, Nina.
Yes, so the only encumbrances we have is for claims that were approved at the last Board of Works meeting on December 28th that were on the ARP register. The total amount is $65,954.98. $47,879.65 is for the Lexipol invoices, and $18,075.33 are for eligible expenses on a proven IT invoice. And so that way we don't have to do an additional for these. We weren't able to cut checks on the 28th because of the move. So,
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the $65,954.98 of encumbrances for Lexipol and proven IT invoices that had been previously approved at the Board of Works on December 28th, 21.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Any questions? If not, please call the roll, Nina.
Councilperson Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilperson Podgorski,
yes,
Councilperson Geishurst,
Yes.
Councilperson Williams,
Yes.
Councilperson Goli,
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli.
Yes.
We have the introduction of ordinance 2022-1.
Yes. Scott, could you take that for us?
Is this the first reading on this ordinance or?
It is, yes.
Okay. All right, so this is ordinance number 22. An ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code entitled Zoning Map. Be it, and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, as follows. Section 1. This ordinance shall amend Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code and accompanying zoning map in the following manner. The zoning shall be changed from C1, which is small to medium scale commercial, to C2, which is medium to large scale commercial, on the property commonly known as 5870 US Highway 6, and which is described on Exhibit A attached hereto. See also edited zoning map attached hereto as Exhibit B. Let the record reflect that this ordinance has been read in its entirety.
Dan, with a zoning change ordinance, do we need a motion to suspend on the first reading? I can't remember.
No, you can't suspend, so it has to be
right,
set.
okay.
Second reading has to be at the next meeting.
Got it. There's no rush on this. Gina, I know this came through Plan Commission.
Correct.
Was there any rush on this, or can this wait till our February meeting?
To my knowledge, there's not a rush.
Okay.
But I say, yeah.
Okay, we'll check with Kurt to make sure that we don't need to get this done sooner.
So everybody knows this is the proposed Bell Tire project. And because of the size of that facility that's being proposed, it's requiring a zoning change from C1 to C2. Is that correct, Gina?
Yes, it is. Because it's currently C1 and they want to move it up to that.
Right.
Gina, I know this went, like I said, through Plan Commission, but I'm trying to look. It's hard to tell. Is that parcel the whole area between Texas Corral and the vitamin store where Sunset Lounge was? Or is it just between Sunset Lounge and Texas Corral? Do you remember?
No, it's
It
actually,
is directly to the west of Texas Corral, I think.
Okay.
I thought it was the west of Sunset. There's a lot of vacant land there. There isn't that much land between Texas Corral and Sunset, is there? I mean,
That's what I'm trying to
my
figure out.
understanding was it was west of Sunset Lounge. I may be wrong.
Well, where they're requesting the zoning change is just west of Texas Corral. The rest of that is C1. What I'm
That's correct.
unsure of is where their parcel is, because it's hard to tell on this map.
I think there's 3 parcels that are part of the zoning change.
Yeah, there's 3.
Well, that's a question to get answered before the next reading. I'm just trying to figure out, is this has Sunset Lounge been sold and this is where it's going? Or is it in between? That's what I'm unsure of.
I would have to get back to you on. I don't know directly. I know I was told it was a parcel of land, so I do not believe it's the building.
It also looks like it's about 54 acres, thereabouts total of the 3 parcels.
Trying to pull that up right now.
Hey, Nina, it looks like our chat was hijacked.
Yes,
Can we
Yes.
ban said person?
very foul language on there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, Colin, if you look it up in GIS, it's just the land in between Sunset and
Okay.
Texas Corral. It's really deep.
Yeah, I was looking. It was hard to see on here. And actually, I think, is there somebody from there might be on the call? I see somebody raising their hand. I could be wrong.
I don't see that, Colin.
Okay. Well, we'll get this checked before the next meeting, obviously. I was just curious where it was.
I will get you the map. I don't have access to it at the moment right now, and I'll send a copy of it to all of you.
Yeah, if you look at Exhibit B, I think it gives you the best imaging there.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at, and it's just hard to tell where their property lines are. I figured I would ask, but I'll look at it on GIS. Thank you, everybody.
So there's no action on that because it's a first reading. Is there any other discussion on the ordinance to change the zoning map? If not, we'll move on to any matters not already considered by the council. We are not able to take public input the way we're set up today. So if anyone wants to contact their council person, I would recommend doing that. We don't have any petitions. You can use the Q&A box, I guess, or the chat box, but we can't do public input on this virtual link right now.
I'd like to ask a question, since we can't do public comment, public hearing. We'll address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, right? My question is for Attorney Whitten. Attorney Whitten, Have we received any reports from employees from our recent discussions, incidents, whatever you'd like to call it? Have we received any reports from employees that not get their check? And if so, is there a reporting process that they can follow in order to potentially be reimbursed?
I'm not sure I completely understand the question.
Right.
Is there any, can you, what do you mean, Ferdinand? A reporting from the employees as to what?
Have we had any city employees who didn't get their check and then fell behind on their bills or anything like that? I mean, that's the fear that we have.
Okay, I see what you're asking me. So as far into the weeds as I'm going to go now, because I don't know how it's going to look, but I did have a message from the union indicating that there would be 5 grievances filed this week. I don't know what they say. I don't know what they're alleging, but that's as far as I can really go into it. But I've not personally have not heard of any employees reaching out to me anyway that indicates that they couldn't pay their bills, if I understand your question correctly. But I guess we'll have to see what the grievances say.
Okay. And I'm not trying to be argumentative or, confrontational or anything like that. I'm just asking the questions because, we're doing the virtual meeting and then we can't do the public comment.
No,
there are a lot of people who may or may not feel as if, their voices are being heard. And so I just putting it out there, and thank you for your answer. That's all I have to ask.
Yeah, and I didn't take your question to be argumentative. I didn't want to go too much farther until I saw the grievances, but I also didn't understand it first. And again, it was because I was cutting in and out, but I wanted to make sure I didn't want to answer incorrectly here.
Thank you, sir.
Ferdinand, to my knowledge, everyone received their paycheck by the Friday, the 31st, which is truly the payday for the city. And their ARP direct deposit was the day before.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any further questions by the council? Any other matters to be considered by the council? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Nina, please call the roll.
Councilperson Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilperson Podgorski,
Yes.
Councilperson Geisfers,
Yes.
Councilperson Scott Williams,
Yes.
Councilperson Gully,
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli.
Yes.
So thank you all. Come see us in our new digs. It's working out really well.
And Mayor, just for everyone's knowledge, public watching, we are intending to be back in person in February with city meetings. But with the COVID numbers the way they are, we are seeing a huge spike. So please, everyone, if you are sick, stay home. You are out, wear a mask, and please get your vaccine.
And Nina, just to let you know, I think with Board of Works, we are still looking at an in-person meeting because it's a small group and we're bringing on a new board member. And I did send you a thing. She's going to have to get hooked up in the Dropbox. But I think, just because we are a small group, we're going to spread out and everybody has to wear their mask.
Okay, I just need you to send me your email address.
Oh, okay. I must have sent it to Norma. I'll send it to you. And then because she doesn't have Dropbox at all, so she isn't familiar with it, but I did sit with her today and go over how the whole thing works. So maybe for next Tuesday's meeting, you might want to, maybe you'll see her at that. That was kind of my hope. And then the other thing is maybe you can just send her the data on her regular email for this first time around so that she can look at it.
I can reach out to Norma tomorrow and get it.
Okay, I'll send you all that information tonight. Thanks.
Thank
Okay,
you,
everybody.
All right.
Have a good night.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Right.